Alright. Zero watching. Awesome. Lol. I think we're back now. Maybe. Are we here? Is it working? Stream offline. Can you guys hear me? Can you see the screen? Okay, awesome. Glad to hear it. Because my dashboard says I'm offline. That's not good.
You know what?
Begin the game. Alright. Let's do it. We're here, guys. End is never the end. End is never the end. End is never the end. Ever. Never the end is loading. Never the end is. The end is never. Awesome. CT Gaming, what's up? Now we're doing Stanley the Parable, which is a really cool game, CT. You gotta watch it, alright? You're gonna stay with me, right, CT? So who we have here in the stream? We already have a like on the stream. Oh my god, what a legend. Y'all haven't even seen me do anything, you already liked it. It's called cheating. Three watching now. Okay, awesome. 4 messages a minute. Awesome. Alright, should be loading now, since we're back in. This game like stops running once you click off of it. Okay.
This is the story of a man named
We'll refresh
Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Awesome, glad to hear it. Let me do something real quick. I'm sorry to pause it on you guys. I'm gonna share the stream on my Discord and stuff. We only got 2. I'm gonna share the stream on my Discord and stuff. We only got 2. Oh my no! We make an infinite loop like that. We are live. There. We'll say. Alright, now we go. Now we gotta go look up on chat again.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour.
Alright, we skip it. Alright, no orders came in, so he decided to walk around.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
That's just the insane ending, isn't it? Maybe there's a default hidden under the stairs, guys. You know where they hide, right? You know. Go to our boss office, and once you're at the door, alright, well, I guess you're our guy. We'll go upstairs. I like how it makes a key sound when you press. I took you to the bathroom. That's probably got something later. Go to the door and trick the door.
Stepping in.
What the heck? "427. You'll see the door open again." Awesome Sloth Gaming, welcome back, man. 427, that's us. Whoa. 427. Dang, dude. You are now leaving. So dark, hold up. I hate you, psych, April Fools. What? A long time to get to the room. Are you sure? Sure it's not just like... Oh, no. 758. Okay, we're going. Maybe it's a 760. There's 9. There's no red light on this one. Escape pod launch bay. Escape.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
That's a bit ironic. See, I might know most.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What are you not, Gage? Was that the ending? Beat the game. One of the achievements. You can't jump, seriously. We disabled it. Wait, which door do I go in, Gage? Go outside. Don't play Stanley Parable for 5 years. Wait, is that an actual achievement? Can we, like... Can we trick that? Can we set our day ahead? $2019. I don't know. You don't know which door to go into? Okay. We'll go on the left.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping in.
Try it again. Maybe. Should we try it again? The PC. The boss's office? Oh. We already messed that up, didn't we? Honestly, it doesn't take that long to like do this ending. Seven, 5, 7. Damn, it's so spooky and meta, man. one more floor. And then it loads back. Begin me again. Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What
Yeah.
could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Yep, all I... Fifth annual subcommit meeting of the commits the Royal Revenue Discussions Club. Some of the papers are illuminated. Why is there papers on the ground everywhere?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Wait, okay, so is there more papers every time?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he'd come into a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Should we check it again, or... I wanna...
The moment...
I wanna see if there's more papers. I know, it's just the same ending over and over, but like, come on. I want more papers. Nah, no thanks. I want to see just like the room fill up with paper. I keep asking you questions. I thought you were looking at like a guide online or something, man. I thought you had me. Okay, so it loads. There was another Stanley parallel somewhere. What do you mean by that? Okay, you're right, this does take quite a long time to like... Escape pods. Okay. Come out the glass window, but you have to be fast to see it. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
That one?
missed a memo.
Begin the game again. It's still called again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
No. Where? Is it this window? Oh, is it like the window right here? Okay, which one is it? Is it like a near? Can you name the door near?
How wonderful. Stanley was alone.
Just look.
Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
Uh-oh. This is funny. How many times does it wait? Hey, what's up, Jelly Belly Bomb? Welcome to the stream.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
How many times? Wait.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
What? No. I wanna...
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either...
Okay, you know what? I'll move on just for you.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I gotta be quick. You were in the room. Okay. What room is it? 425. Consulter. So wait. I have to be fast, right? So I have to begin the game, run to 45, hitting this point solitaire. Okay. I'm gonna run. Here's the paper ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No. Try again.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very...
Just keep trying until I see myself in there. Or the message. It's pretty rare to occur. Well, that's no fun.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from there...
Well, my screen showed.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
That's not right. Did you guys see the door? Usually you turn right, correct? Yo, okay, okay, buddy. Yeah, no thanks. What? Oops. He walks around.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
He walks around. You mean like he walks right there? Should I wait for him? Or does he walk out of the room and like disappear?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
he walks out of the room. Okay, so we have to be quick.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let me in. Let me in. Voice cracks, man. How long has my mic been like kind of far away?
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was.
He really hoped it was.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, I see him. Oh, okay. It's pretty rare, though. There's only like a few videos of finding it. We're gonna do a different editing for now. Just for now.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
So wait, we can always...
But Stanley's...
Dang, dude. That's wonky.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I see he walks by right there. He's not actually in the office though. Wanna try to do a different ending.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring.
But eager to get back
to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
No, I remember
Please,
a while ago, yeah, pick up the phone.
by yourself. Now,
I remember I unplugged the phone last time.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Jesus Christ, I fucking scared me.
That's her, Stanley.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. Fantastic discoveries of new lands.
Not big surprise.
And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice.
Oh my
It
God.
barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy,
Sad.
he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls.
Wait, what happened?
And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
No, there was a fridge
And
there.
down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Demon.
But there is no answer.
No.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always
No.
has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets.
No,
the
the
more
walls are
he
turning blue.
forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
No. No.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
Shut up,
missed
shut up,
the
shut up.
memo. No matter how hard
What's that
Stanley
noise?
looked,
Shut up.
he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
What's that noise? It's raining? Damn. Anyways. Is that like a Portal 2 reference, maybe?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here.
We haven't
either.
actually done anything that the
Feeling a
narrator
wave of
wants us to do.
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
We'll go to the boss's
Coming to a
office,
staircase,
whatever.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean, he wondered. Desperate for answers, he began turning the room over looking for clues that might unravel the situation, until at last he discovered a keypad behind the boss's desk. But alas, no code. For this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet.
Tell me the
and so the boss
code.
had assigned it an extra secret
8008.
number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Get the real ending.
Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely. But no, this is what he was going to do instead.
Don't even use the piano. 8008 isn't working, bud.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Gage, what do we do?
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
We'll just do the narrator story. Na, 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 na. Ah, man.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stir.
Why is my thumbnail for don't starve together because tabs won't work? It's Stanley Parable. Gosh darn it.
Emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
$800 is just supposed to boom. What's that? Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
And dead. Huh?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was no great loss, like plucking
don't do it.
eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
The two doors. Nature paintings. Office layout. There's us. Corridor. Office computers. Stevie. Yo, what's back? What's happening? Stanley's dead, dude. Employee lounge. Underground. An early version of the underground portion of the game. Narrator outtakes. Swiss narrator recorded the dialogue the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development.
Stanley stood on the snow.
These are clips from early takes that were not used in the final game.
Shoot. Well, try the other one. Stanley walked over the bridge. Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design, textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next...
What am I playing? I'm playing Stanley Parable, dude. This game is really meta. Really awesome. Screens from the boss office early. Office clock. Freedom ending. Fair incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. Countdown desk. One of the desks from an early version of the countdown ending. Freedom ending. This is the freedom ending as it existed in the beta. Guys, how do we get the freedom ending? You guys look up Koki. Can you find out how to do the freedom end?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Don't crash
Can
again.
you see? Can you see
Okay.
how much they need one another? No, perhaps not.
You shut the thing.
Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Do we need to quit the game? Get in the game again? What do we do? Go to the I want to go to the freedom ending. Oh, actually, that's the freedom
Already this
ending.
was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I turned it on.
Yet there was
the
not
first
a
time,
single
actually.
person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean, he wondered. Desperate for answers, he began turning the room over, looking for clues that might unravel the situation.
Freedom ending.
Until at last, he discovered a keypad behind the boss's desk. But alas, no code. For this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Got a message on Discord. Let's see what that is. Probably it's not to me. It's just one of the servers. Well, oof, man. Oh shit! I just hit our chandelier, kind of thing. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I stood up. Two tall guys.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Probably translate that, huh? Maybe. What's up? Welcome back.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control.
How do you know you can fall off?
Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Awesome, we're free, man. We kind of rested, huh?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him.
I was like, why is he getting so big? It's like a down here.
Or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Now you're ready to get wild. Very funny. Do the right. Alright, I'm gonna go use the restroom quick though.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley just stood there doing nothing at all. He seems to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything. This is why Stanley and I are on such good terms.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. Broom closet ending. What did I do? Alright. Nothing better than a black screen. Okay. Do the right. Go to the same room. And turn it on. Okay. And some stuff will go down. If I were to begin the game again. Well, I've watched the... Is it different?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
We usually
meeting
go right,
room.
but
perhaps
whatever.
he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I might do a different stream.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
You know what? I want to do Clone Drone in the Danger Zone, right? We'll do that. Or... I don't know, we might just... We could just do nothing. I mean, do I have to keep streaming? Guys, do I have to stream? I just want to do something more action-packed right now. You guys aren't going to say anything? Hold up. We'll see. Hey guys,
Hey, Geetcha.
I'm streaming right now. Do you mind if I join?
You playing Gears? What are you aiming to stream?
What? I don't know. I mean,
Well,
I
you
was playing
can
Stanley
join if you want.
Parable, but I kind of wanted to join you guys.
You can join. Feel free.
Awesome.
We're just messing around with portals, fucking each other over.
Whoa, Squidward. It's okay.